Please subscribe to this channel and we'll keep the comedy clips flowing. And now...
Give your next act, ladies and gentlemen, it's Mr. Ed Pownall!
Thank you very much, thank you. People often ask me how I got into comedy, and I always tell them that I'm Richard Gere's illegitimate son. But no, I see myself as a problem solver. I see myself as a problem solver in the workplace, which dovetails nicely with the theme of the show, obviously, which is problems at work. If you ever find yourself using the phrase dovetails without irony, as I just have, then you have been sucking at the corporate teat too long, as I have. But no, I see myself as a problem solver. By way of example, I solved the Mexican wall crisis. Okay, Trump doesn't want to look like he's going to back down on this stuff. Obviously, it's never going to happen. He doesn't want to look like he's going to back down. That's his problem. So my theory is this, right? We need better trade relations with the US. Yes, after Brexit, we need better trade relations with the US. He gives the contract to Britain. Right? So we have better trade relations with them. He doesn't look like he's backing down. The British government give the contract to a British builder and the job never gets done. Win-win-win, isn't it? Yeah, so on that sort of global level of problem solving, that's where I am, that sort of level. So that's the kind of, so I feel like I'm qualified to pass on some career advice to you, okay? This isn't a statement of arrogance, this is just that I'm a bit older and I've been through a few things. Now the first thing obviously is the CV, isn't it? The CV. Now obviously lying on the CV is mandatory, it's part of the game, it's how it works. But don't go too far, as I've done over the years, right? By way of example, my first job was working in a coffee shop, right? Now back then that was the easiest job on the planet. 2 types of coffee, black or white. Now working in a coffee shop's like rocket science, isn't it? There's rocket scientists out there, I don't do that shit anymore. I work in Costas, it's more of a challenge. There are 12 types of milk in Costas, right? 12 types. Impossible, isn't it? But obviously back in the early 90s, I did black or white, walk in the park, I needed to beef my CV up. I couldn't just I put the kettle on, right? So I went with creator and purveyor of a performance-enhancing liquor integral to the British population in the workplace. Not a total lie, an exaggeration, sure, but not a total lie. But I didn't stop there, did I? I didn't stop there. I went, and thus I was directly responsible for the economic boom of the early 1990s. That was a lie. And I think that's where I went wrong, because my next job was handing out the metro at Charing Cross Tube Station, okay? Now don't scoff, that might sound depressing at 25 being a paper boy again, but no, it was a good job actually. You worked from 6 a.m. till 8 a.m. and you got 40 quid. 2 hours work, handing out the paper, got 40 quid, and bear in mind this is 1999, so back then 40 quid was like the equivalent of 40 pounds in today's money. So it's good cash, good cash. And obviously from a CV point of view, this was dynamite. I could justifiably-ish put on my CV integral to the launch of the only new newspaper in Britain in the last 20 years. Win! But obviously it was time for me to have the bad job, wasn't it? The bad job was going to happen, and I ended up working in a betting shop chain, right? I can't say its name for legal reasons, but for the sake of the show, let's just call it Ladbrokes, okay? Now, for those of you under 30, back in my day, betting shops are essentially toilets for the homeless with tills at the back, okay? And so I was working at this toilet for the homeless with a till at the back, and it was in Putney, right? Nice area. And it wasn't all bad, because next door there was a greengrocer's. Old-fashioned greengrocer, nothing special in that, but it was the greengrocer that Yasmin Le Bon used to buy her fruit and veg from, right? Now, for those of you under 30, again, Yasmin Le Bon was the original supermodel, a sublimely beautiful woman, and I would see her about twice a week before I set up the shop, okay? And obviously I would imagine scenarios where we had conversations. I'd also imagine lots of other scenarios, but for the sake of this story, let's just stick with the conversational one. So I was in Ladbrokes, at the back of the shop making tea, and I looked down next to the kettle and I saw something that made me realise instantly that I had to resign, okay? Because next to the kettle I had physically made 2 cups of tea. One for myself and one for Yasmin Le Bon. Right? So lie on your CV by all means, but remember this: it might drive you to making real tea for mythical supermodel friends of yours. So I'll leave you with this last piece of advice from me. If you're ever in trouble at work, this works every time, right? Whatever you do, if you're wanking at the desk, anything, this will get you out of trouble. Absolutely every time. In every single, so just as long as you're around, point out to HR that they are the only part of any business, firm, company across the planet that provide nothing to the bottom line of that company, okay? They do absolutely nothing. The only department in any company that provide nothing to the bottom line. And point this out to them. So basically the message is, see them, say that, sorted. Thank you.
Hey you, lovely person. Please be sure to subscribe to this We Are Funny Project channel. It really helps us to keep bringing you comedy clips, stand-up tips and a whole load more. Thanks in advance.